amniotic fluids inside her womb so that we would have an extra month of developing over time. But she had to stay in bed for 3 weeks. She couldn't go to use the restroom or take a shower. Doctors especially were persistent on my sister and I having disabilities throughout our lives. Disabilities such as being blind, having cerebral palsies, being in a wheelchair, not being able to walk, even having mental retardation. But that's not the case, apparently. When we were trying to deliver, we had to be put in an intensive care unit. And thereafter, I had to be put in an intensive care unit for another 4 months because I was so underweight, I had to recuperate in the hospital to develop as a average-sized baby would. The minute my sister was born, well, not the minute she was born, she developed meningitis. And for those of you who don't know what meningitis is, it's basically I believe it's an infection that surrounds the cerebral membrane and the spinal cord, and that is very deadly, especially to a premature baby. I mean, babies typically don't survive meningitis, much less an average child. But for a premature baby, we were pretty lucky to have survived meningitis. And I was born with chronic lung disease myself, meaning I had to be put on life support, and I had to have oxygen to help sustain me. Some of the challenges that my sister and I had is that we had to be given blood donations, a lot of it, because we were underweight. We had to have 5 IV drips in total, 1 in each arm, 1 in each leg, and 1 IV drip in a vein in her brain. So that's why I kind of have a dent in my head. I didn't know that until I was like 19. I didn't discover that. But we had to have IV drips in all parts of our body so that the blood can reach all parts of our body, so we could like get the appropriate amount of oxygen so we could breathe. Not only that, but we had to, my nervous system wasn't fully developed at all, so I was basically a helpless baby, and there was no way that I could move my muscles at all. My brain couldn't signal my muscles to move, and I couldn't even cry if I even had that option. I couldn't even do that. Also, not only that, but other challenges was that we had to have a tube stuck down our throats so we could like get the proper nutrition and blood and also the oxygen as well. These are my interesting fun facts that I mentioned earlier. So, in conclusion, remember how I'm sorry, I think it's 6. Oh, sorry. So, I want to show you guys what we really had to wear when we were born. And so maybe my friends is a little shocking, but I want you guys to envision a golf ball. That was the size of my head, a little golf ball. This was probably the first little cap that I had to wear when I was a little baby. And everything in this box was considered extra large, so keep that in mind. This was my first little cap that I had to wear. And then the longer I stayed in the hospital, the more the little clothes grew because my head got bigger. This is my sister's. And patients and nurses, they were generous enough to knit us these clothes. And most of them were considered dog clothes, not baby clothes. This was the size of my foot. I want you guys to hold out your thumb in front of you. Look at the top part of your thumb. That was the size of my entire foot. Can you believe that? It was so tiny. And this was like the size of my foot. This was probably my first shirt that I've ever worn. This was considered extra large on me. and it was all handmade because there weren't any premature clothes that were provided in the hospital for us. Especially the premature diapers that they provided in the hospitals, that was considered very extra large on us, but that was all they had handy. This was my blood cuff, and my arms were so fragile that one little mistake and it could break in half, like it was like a toothpick. Also, if you guys were like full-grown average adults, you guys would be able to hold me in your whole entire hand. That's how tiny I was. So, in conclusion, when all odds were against me, ranging from doctors telling me that we weren't going to make it to them telling my mom to get an abortion, we survived all the challenges. And so, referring back to number 2, the way I see it is that we have 2 options. We either get aborted with no say in getting to live a happy, perfect life, or we can stay strong, fight, and live. So, and this is my works cited page. These are my